Hello, my name is Christian, and this morning we're looking at Acts 10, verses 24 to 48. So the passages we looked at yesterday, in the beginning of this chapter, we saw that God brought about this meeting. He was initiating a meeting between Cornelius and Peter through their prayer life, just speaking to them through prayer. So Cornelius being a Gentile believer, non-Jewish believer, and Peter being a Jewish believer. So we can see that in these passages today we get to see that meeting unfold, see what happens, but also we see God unveiling his plan for the church, a church where all nations are allowed to come in. But we can see that from the very outset, Peter stepping into the household, he's still trying to understand what God is doing here. So we see that in verse 28, and he said to them, "You yourselves know how unlawful it is for a Jew to associate with or to visit anyone of another nation." So he steps in, he's like, "I can't believe I'm here. It's the first time that I've been into a Gentile household, and it's completely breaking any Jewish tradition, but here I am. What is God doing?" But we can see that as we go through these passages, his mindset is starting to change. So we can see verse 28, "But God has shown me that I should not call any person common or unclean." We saw that in the passages yesterday, just from the vision that he was given. And then verse 34, "So Peter opened his mouth and said, 'Truly understand that God shows no partiality.'" And then verse 35, "But in every nation, anyone who fears him and does what is right is acceptable to him." So we can see this shift in Peter's mind. It's not just focusing on a national focus of Israel. It's actually, no, he's opening this thing up. All nations are allowed to come in. And we know that for God, this isn't a new plan. We can see that in Psalm 24, verse 1, "The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, the world and those who dwell therein." So it's always God's plan, God's plan to let the nations in. So as I'm just coming to land, I guess our application for us this morning is that if God is letting in all nations, every workplace, every university and college, and wherever you might be during the week, God is working. We see that this man, Cornelius, God spoke to him. God spoke to this man, and then Peter came along, helped explain the gospel. The Holy Spirit came upon them, and the family were baptized. But God plucked out this man, Cornelius. And there are people where you are during the week, where God's plucking them out. He's speaking to them right now. Who on your Zoom call is God speaking to? So I just want to leave that with us this morning. Close down this video and just pray, God, who is it that you're revealing yourself to today? Who is it that I can have a conversation with today? And just take that conversation on, just as Peter did there, just take that conversation on. God, please reveal those people to me today. Thank you so much for joining me, and see you again soon.